The Adelong development will consist of a 16-storey mixed-use residential tower along with a 6-storey community centre which will involve a library and an abundance of health and educational facilities.
We're here to demonstrate to you the key findings and recommendations, the stuff that matters. By the end of this, Prosper Property will have won your hearts to make Cherrybrook the emerging community it is.
Upon visiting the site, it was clear to see that the topography of the land and the electrical easement were significant site constraints. This went on to alter our financial and sustainability considerations, including the construction costs, the type of loan, and how the design scope can be best integrated into the subject site's features. The Blue Gum High Forest poses an opportunity to foster habitats and become a potential gateway for a pedestrian boardwalk, which will enhance accessibility and walkability throughout the precinct. With infrastructure as a weak point for many development sites across Sydney, the adjacent Cherrybrook Metro Station provides direct and frequent access to the site. The recent exhibition of the Hornsby Local Strategic Planning Statement indicates a target dwelling gain of 8,217 dwellings by 2026, and notably, it is identified that the subject site will assist in accommodating for this medium-term growth. Logically, it is key that a medium to high density environment is targeted. Under the current planning controls, only 100 additional dwellings are predicted possible for the growth of the precinct by 2036, and accordingly, the future desired character of the area cannot be met. By examining precedents, including the recent rezoning of Northwest Metro precincts and looking at case studies beyond Sydney, we propose an uplift of the current height, zone and FSR of the site to permit a higher density environment. The proposed rezone will ensure we can deliver the housing and community facilities that both the existing and future residents strategically require, whilst ensuring that the existing precinct's character can be retained.
Cherrybrook is home to 18,765 residents, with population forecast indicating that this will increase to 20,890 residents by 2036. There is therefore a need for significant dwelling growth to be coupled with services to meet these projections. Cherrybrook's future for employment shows strength of the largest sector of employment in Hornsby Shire, being in healthcare and social assistance, accounting for over 10,000 jobs. Given the spectrum of age groups within the locality, the incorporation of a library space is critical in tailoring to the needs of all ages while adding character to the precinct. However, given the current sales data and the relative absence of the 25 to 39 year age group, the Adelong has included a high proportion of 2 to 3 bedroom residential dwellings to cater to the social and financial capabilities of this age group. This has been accounted for in the development with regards to allocating sufficient floor space, amenities and accessibility of the site in response to market demands.
From a financial perspective, the market has seen significant changes over the past 18 months. A near future sees household disposable income being a determining issue for Australia's economic success. Economic projections show increased government support and infrastructure will help boost consumer confidence in the property market, especially for first home buyers. The cash rate is currently at a record low of 0.75%, with the Reserve Bank expecting an extended period of low interest rates. It seems attractive for investment. However, these low interest rates are being trumped by a tight lending market. With interventions from APRA and repercussions from the Royal Commission into Banking, there's been a definite credit squeeze for an extended period of time. Taking into consideration all external market influences, our sole purpose of this feasibility was to make it as realistic as possible. We undertook 5 options, inclusive of a base case, where different improvements and financial structures were analysed. For instance, our base case scenario started with 66 units and a small community centre, with this capital stack of 30% equity and 70% senior debt. From this, options 1 and 3 were created, where the implementation of mezzanine debt was analysed. This was due to the likelihood of challenges arising from the close proximity to the high voltage power lines. This will ultimately reduce the LVR, or the loan to value ratio, that the major banks are willing to offer. Option 4 is to be demonstrated as an alternative solution, where no form of senior debt is to be accepted by major banks, although a development of this size cannot be serviced as a mezzanine loan in full. Therefore, we incorporated a 30% overdraft on total debt.
All information from our feasibilities we ensured were obtained from credible sources. So for instance, on top of using builders guides such as Rawlinson's, Prosper Properties sourced our professional fees and construction costs from a range of quantity surveyor and property development firms such as Wynnum Property Advisory, Belvire Development Group and Mitchell Bradman Quantity Surveyors. Considering the unique aspects of the site, Rawlinson's wasn't always accurate, and this ensured that all the data within the feasibility was therefore more accurate to the site and reflective of current market conditions. On top of that, we ensured that our projected sales figures were broken down into each apartment offered. As seen, we took into account the size, the aspect, the finishes and supply of each apartment within the tower. In regards to our financial aspect, we consulted financial advisors such as Renato Strumer from Financial Advocates, where he provided us with a rundown of the senior and mezzanine interests which were currently reflected of the market trends. As seen, we adopted an interest base rate of 5.5% along with a line fee of 1% and application fee of 0.5%. And all in all, we ensured that the feasibility was completed correctly. For instance, our commercial sales, statutory fees and land tax costs were all inclusive of GST rather than exclusive. So following succinct analysis, Prosper Property recommend utilising option 2. This sees an increase of the mixed-use tower from our base case to involve 14 levels of residential living, 2 levels of commercial space and a green roof. Total apartment quantities will see an increase to 150, which is an additional 84 apartments in contrast to the base case. Now the reason we went for the 16 stories was that we looked at the Cherrybrook precinct as a whole. We considered the CB2 site and the CB3 site, and for that development we're looking at utilising solely townhouse development and low density apartment living. Furthermore, for the Library and Research Centre, we extended this to 6 levels from 4 levels. This accommodated for extra health and educational space. Sale prices were collected from surrounding suburbs, and this contributed to the profitability with both the project IRR and development margin exceeding targets. So in regards to the figures, we were able to adopt a 25.29% development margin along with a 26.75% project IRR. After taking into account the revenue and costs, this came to a net profit of just under $30 million, where we derived a residual land value of $40,197,104. So in regards to considering all the options, this gave us the highest development margin and residual land value. And this was the best part from our financial standpoint. But at the same time, we also feel the improvements we put on the site was beneficial for the current Cherrybrook community and the community that will be growing within the area. The extra services we provided, along with the 16-storey tower, as previously mentioned, will be the only tower on this site. Furthermore, while the project IRR does derive a lesser value to our base case in option 1, this is due to the increased construction time. However, in the long run, option 2 will develop a higher return due to the higher amount of improvements we put on the site. This development option does have a capital stack of 70% senior debt and 30% equity, which is reflected to be the most profitable option.
Interpreting the data, we went on to conduct a sensitivity and scenario analysis, which outlined the potential threats and opportunities of our Argus Estate Master financial models. Our proposal indicates the most probable scenario going forward. As expected, our worst case scenario outlined that the target IRR and development margin could not be met, with a net profit of between $11 to $12 million. Alternatively, the best case scenario showed an increase of 5% in end sales values, as well as a reduction of 5% in the land acquisition cost. This leverages a significant development margin and project IRR, but the probability of this scenario coming to fruition is very unlikely. A notable similarity between all the scenarios is that debt exposures do not have significant variations, and this is based on changes in the length of the construction period. So although time lags in construction will pose a minimal threat to the overall financing of the development, the IRR will still be affected. Within the sensitivity analysis conducted, it was identified that the end sales values demonstrates the greatest variation due to the potential market uplift. The year 2022 may see a market in a good state of return for sales. Therefore, a 3% increase will reflect a higher net development profit compared to the initial amount. This $4 million difference can be utilised for other stages of the development delivery program, such as unforeseen conditions.
Prosper Property pursued sites that truly met the vision of the Adelong, to be leaders in environmental performance, inclusive communities and holistic lifestyles. Looking at the Bircham, it paves the way for sustainable living in Sydney. It focuses on sustainable initiatives which are both groundbreaking and innovative, being responsible for a number of awards. They adopted floor plans to meet the needs of all ages, and with only a short walk to Greens West Station, it shares the arterial connections of the Cherrybrook Metro line. Now, according to REA, the average price of a 2-bedroom apartment is $766,000. However, this does not compare to the Bircham, selling their 2-bedroom apartment in July this year for $1.35 million. Steering away from this, I want to highlight a case study that focuses on its community and health, a core difference our proposal can offer you. CQ University have introduced a system where students can learn on real patients in the real world. Whilst this benefits the students' learning, it also benefits the individuals as they are able to get access to professional services at significantly discounted rates. This will work very well for Cherrybrook's ageing population, with the nearest medical centre being 2.8 kilometres away. This will also work well for the 23.2% of students in Cherrybrook studying at tertiary institutions.
Sustainable initiatives will consist of blue-green infrastructure, water-sensitive urban design, and open space, which will together assist in reducing urban heat island effect, potable water consumption, and encourage biodiversity. Sustainable procurement methods and efficient management of waste and construction materials have also been considered. Together, these sustainable initiatives will assist in meeting a high neighbours in Green Star target. Furthermore, a provision of 10% affordable housing equating to a total of 14 units has been adopted to not only meet Landcom's objectives, but also the community desires outlined in the consultation process. This will assist in the creation of a healthy and inclusive place by setting the foundation for equitable development. These sustainable and resilient initiatives will complement our vision for Cherrybrook, a vibrant public domain with residential amenity, retail facilities, open green space, and an exemplar community centre that will allow both existing and future residents to live, work and play.
So the community will hold 5,600 square metres of retail space, occupied by a supermarket, restaurants and local cuisines. The residential interior will be sophisticated and inspired by Cherrybrook's community and its surrounds. Prosper Property aims to develop a hybrid precinct that brings a sense of community whilst offering retail and residential assets of a high standard. Individuals and families will step off seamless transport into a distinguished community. Prosper Property will have a point of difference by ensuring there is a balance between a sense of community from new community members to existing residents.
So upon arrival, the bright blue gum forest will be the backdrop of the Adelong's gentle presence, where the open green space and sustainable design will be accompanied by a steady flow of foot traffic and residents enjoying the local amenities and retail spaces available. When it comes to setting that vision, Prosper Property will be that catalyst, always seeking the best innovative solutions. By employing ourselves into this integrated canvas with both Landcom and the Cherrybrook community, we'll promote proactive and resilient outcomes to produce this visionary blueprint, the Adelong. Thank you.